everyone. I'm Adam Brown, and this is Shell Point Today for Tuesday, July 8th. On today's show, we'll hear from Pat Specht about a summer musical opportunity that will have you singing. We'll also enjoy hearing some summer memories from our friends at the King's Crown and the Pavilion. But first, we want to remind you about some great programs that will be happening at Shell Point today. First, our favorite history professor, Adrian Kerr, will be back for Session 2 of his fascinating lecture on the story of China. He will speak on the widespread impact of China's history, religion, and culture that is felt all over the world every day, and how that influence continues to grow. Join Professor Kerr to examine this immense and varied country from the origins of its native people to its current position on the world stage. That's today at 10 a.m. in the Grand Cypress Room at the Woodlands. Tickets are available for $10 at either service desk. Also, today is the starting day for It's All About You, a program being offered in collaboration with Lee Memorial Health System. It's All About You is all about chronic disease self-management and is based on research at Stanford University. Today is the first session of the 6-week workshop, which will run each Tuesday through August 12th at 1:15 in the Manatee Room on the island. The program provides individuals with tools to manage their chronic health conditions. Participants prepare an action plan on a weekly basis, and the core concepts taught include action planning, problem solving, and decision making. The program is both interactive and fun. Participants will receive a helpful reference book titled Living a Healthy Life with Chronic Conditions. Again, today's session starts at 1:15 in the Manatee Room. Sign up is required for this event, which you can do by calling Ginny Miller Plaza at 454-8247. And don't forget that the Shell Point Thrift Store is offering everything in the store at 20% off this week, starting today. So go on by or let your friends know that there are bargains to be had through this coming Saturday. Terry Koleth is here now with Pat Specht to share a musical opportunity for this summer that will have you singing.
Hello everyone, I'm here today with Pat Specht of Lakewood, and we're talking about some fun in the Academy of Lifelong Learning as Pat Specht presents Sing, Sing, Sing. Hello, Pat.
Hi there, Terry.
Well, I have an office near the Grand Cypress Room. I enjoy jazz and stuff every single Wednesday, and I know there was a sadness at the thought of our community missing it for a summer hiatus.
Right.
So I said, Pat, people loved your sing-along last year. Will you do another one? And you said yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you know how important it is that we have the singing in our lives, don't you?
Yes, I do. It makes people joyful, and they remember things when they hear all of these songs that they used to sing. It's just wonderful.
What kind of songs are we going to share in our sing?
Well, we're gonna start with the oldies and goodies, I always call them, because I grew up with a mother that played the piano. In fact, she did the same thing I did in my working years. She was a music teacher in the elementary grades, and so it was just natural for me to sit at the piano and sing with her. And she taught me all these old songs, really clear back. Excuse me, before me.
Whoa.
Definitely before me.
Before our time. Huh?
Yeah. And so we're going to start with that. Things like Down by the Old Mill Stream and Darktown Strutter's Ball, and let's see, what do we got? 5'2", all of those things that I didn't grow up with, but I did grow up with because she taught them to me. And then I'm also going to get up into the newer things. I mean, things that I grew up with, you know, like, what have I got here? Zippity Doo-Dah and Hello Dolly, and some of the things from shows that are on Broadway. They're fun to sing. Mame, I mean, that's always fun to sing. So I'm going to do a little bit of everything, and I'm going to change it every week. We're going to have a different song sheet every week.
Right.
So that hopefully we don't, I think every once in a while we'll repeat one maybe, but we don't have to, you know, because there's lots more to come.
Well, when you mention the word fun with the word singing, what about those of us who don't have the voice you have? Can we still participate?
Yes, I've had people come up to me and say, oh, Pat, I want to come, but I don't sing. And I said, wait a minute, you can come anyhow. I'm not going to put a phone right there in your mouth so that everybody hears what you sound like.
Oh,
I'm not going to do that. But you can come and just kind of enjoy listening, or you can kind of hum along. I mean, I hope you do come, and I hope the men come too, because we need those nice deep bass voices or baritone voices, you know.
And it's going to be a non-judgment zone.
Non-judgment. Oh, I'm not going to. If they're not on key, so what? I mean, I'm not going to worry because they're having fun, you know.
Well, thank you for showing us not only that we're going to have fun, but who we're going to have fun with. Appreciate it so much. You will not want to miss it. Singing voice or no singing voice, come on out and have fun. We've got 4 Wednesdays starting July 9th, Grand Cypress Room, 2:30 to 3:30 with Miss Pat Specht.
Memories, what memories? Summer is a season that seems to grow a bumper crop of family memories, and our residents have gathered a lot of them through the years. We asked some of them from the King's Crown and the Pavilion to look back and tell us a story or two about things that happened in the summer.
I came from a family of 4 brothers and 1 sister, and we had a lot of fun. My dad loved to go places and do things. We used to go swimming at a pond that we called Ridgeway. We took picnic lunches for us out there, and that was a lot of fun too. But another favorite thing that we had is because we didn't have any refrigerator at home, but the ice truck came by once a day, and we kids would stand out at the side and wait for the ice truck because they'd have to chip off a block for you to take in the house, and what fell off, the iceman let us have it to suck it. But it was a lot of fun, and there's a lot of things that has happened now for having to live with 4 boys, brothers, and a sister. But it was a lot of fun, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
Salt Lake City, to go into the salt water and float. That was fun. That was one of the fun places. Well, my father was a professor, so he had the summers off, or part of the summers off. So we used to go in the old cars and travel all around the country to different states. And of course, the facilities for overnight staying were not very good at that time. So we had bedrolls made out of blankets. We each had our own bedroll, and we would sleep wherever we found an empty place in a churchyard or a schoolyard. I remember one night we were visited by a creature that turned out to be a skunk. Oh. So I remember that. It ruined our bedrolls, and we had to start all over again. So that was fun.
Well, I guess going to Seaside Park in Bridgeport, Connecticut. The beach was nice then. I don't know what it's like now. I had twin sisters, and I guess we would just go and spend the day. But it was fun. We had a good time.
Well, my early experiences were all in Canada. We motored usually for the summer vacations, and often it was from Winnipeg to Ottawa, Canada, and I think we knew that road personally, every stop on it. And I think the one I had most fun with, we went up to where my aunt and uncle had a cottage on the Ottawa River, and it was very wide and shallow where they had built their cottage. And you had to go out, more than 100 yards to do any fishing. But we did fish, and my sister caught what was for us a great big fish. I think it must have weighed 15 pounds. Mm. So I think she was the hero of the day.
Well, one of my early memories as a child was going to Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, and spending a couple of weeks there with my family. And I remember going fishing for bass and bluegills and so on every day. And that was the most fun we had. I was probably 6 or 7 years old at the time, and we had a ball.
Well, as a child, I was into trouble all the time. But at that time, there were Tarzan movies on, and sort of a series, and once a week you saw something about Tarzan. Well, there was a nice big tree in our little town that was just perfect for swinging from one limb to the other. And we kids did that, once in a while. So after seeing that movie, I thought I knew it all. So I went to the tree, and I was doing pretty good until I missed and landed. And I knew I had broken some ribs. I knew something was wrong there. Now, this is a small town with one doctor. Of course, that hurt, but what was hurt worse was telling Mother all about this. But I did, and guess what I got? I got a paddling. And so I'll never forget that.
Well, my brother and I did everything together. We did music together, and we used to put on shows. My sister was 5 years younger than me, and she used to sing, and we would put on a show when we'd go different places.
Very nice.
Even though maybe there was nobody to watch, we'd practice.
I used to go down to the creek and go right out into the water.
From a tree rope, huh?
From a tree rope, right. Oh, that was fun.
And did you try
At first it was hard because I didn't want to turn loose.
You didn't want to let go,
I
huh?
didn't want to let it go. You could hit a bank or something,
So you had to know how to fall correctly.
Exactly.
Right in the middle of the deep hole, right?
Exactly.
That was fun.
Later on, after I got older, I was in college, and I went canoeing up in the Quetico Park in Canada with 3 fraternity brothers, and we paddled all the way from the border clear up to the Trans-Canada Railroad at Coween and back again, 300 miles. And we had a big time there.
One summer we decided to follow the Lewis and Clark Trail all the way from St. Louis all the way out to Oregon. And our kids were probably 8 and 5 or something like that. And we camped. And we started out, and I had read the journals of Lewis and Clark, and I read every day where we were on the trail, thinking that they were absorbing all this. Of course, they weren't, but anyway. Anyway, we read all the historical markers, and my older daughter wasn't thrilled with this trip at all. And she said, "Not another hysterical marker." Well, we had fun camping. We had gotten up one morning early, and Martha and Marianne were still in the tent, and we heard this bang, 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 bang. And we looked in the tent, and Martha had a wood tick, and she was trying to kill it with a hatchet. Oh. And the tent had a floor in it. So,
oh, no.
So we stopped that in a hurry.
Now it's time to cover all of today's happenings, Academy news, menus, and Village Church connections.
Welcome to the Happening segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Bev Chandley, and this is Leslie Brand, and we're going to tell you the activities that we offer for you here at Shell Point today. We're going to start bright and early this morning with a Health Connections class at 7:15. This one is Bend, Breathe, and Balance. That's down in the Health Club. 8 o'clock is the time you'll find pickleball at the pickleball courts. Also at 8 o'clock, round robin doubles tennis will be played at the Woodlands tennis courts. The Ladies Golf Association will meet at 8:30 down at the Shell Point Golf Club. We have open painting down in the art studio at 9:15. Also at 9:15, we have shuffleboard down at the shuffleboard courts. At 9:30, we have match play mixed doubles tennis at the Woodlands tennis courts. And we have a Bible study, the Through the Bible Study Group in the Osprey Room at 10:15. At 11 o'clock, the Susie Q boat goes out to Rum Runners for lunch. Sign up is required. That's at the Island Greeters desk. And our last activity for the morning today is a Health Connections class, Living Healthy in the Osprey Room. That's at 11:45. Here's Leslie for the afternoon lineup.
Thank you, Bev. At 12:30 is Mixed Progressive Bridge in the game room of the Woodlands. 12:45, Health Connections, Spanish by Motion in the Health Club on the island. Sign up is required. At 1:15, Health Connections, It's All About You in the Manatee Room on the island. Sign up is required. 1:15, Knitters Group in the Osprey Room. At 1:15, the Rollicking Recorderess in the Tarpon Room. 1:15, Women's Ministries Prayer is at 408 Royal Bonnet on the island. 1:30, Health Connections, Aqua Pilates Stretch in the LifeQuest Aquatic Center. 2:45, Health Connections, Balance and Mobility Training Level 2 in the Health Club on the island. Sign up is required. Well, thank you for tuning in with us today. We hope you have a great day.
Hello, I'm Terry Kolath with your Academy information for Tuesday. At 10 o'clock, the Story of China, Session 2, will take place in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands. I'd like to share with you some new classes tomorrow. We have Academy on the Go Educational Field Trip Celebrate the new library in downtown Fort Myers. We also have a free iPad clinic taking place in the Teaching Center. And then we have Sing, Sing, Sing with Pat Specht of the Woodlands. I'd like to take a moment to say a big thank you to our auxiliary volunteers who keep serving throughout the summer in our skilled nursing facility, the Larson Pavilion. If you're interested in joining them, please give me a call and I'll tell you about all the opportunities available. Or, as always, look on the last page of the weekly reminder for details about how to sign up for the orientation.
Menus for Tuesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is chicken enchiladas with yellow rice and beans. The dinner special is build your own stir fry for $12.95, and the soup of the day is corn chowder. In the Island Cafe for lunch, the special is a turkey club sandwich with fries for $7.25. The dinner special is an Island Cafe picnic with your choice of hot dog and hamburgers for $8.25. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are halibut for $16.95 or chicken brine for $13.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Greetings and welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm here with Pastor Andy Hawkins today. Thank you, Andy, for joining us.
My pleasure.
Andy, we as a staff have been watching current events unfold, particularly as we've been watching the country of Iraq. We've been burdened about what we're seeing go on there. And I want to just ask you to share a little bit your thoughts, your perspective as to what's going on in that country right now.
Yeah, it's an extraordinarily difficult situation, and obviously, if anybody who watches the news, not only with respect to Iraq but also Syria, during this particular period of time, recognizes the need for peace, and we ought to be praying as a people for the cessation of those kinds of conflicts. The current situation in Iraq is instigated by a group that is even more problematic than Al-Qaeda. It's the ISIS. They're known as the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. And they have as their goal essentially to establish an Islamic caliphate in the area. And they have been obviously on the news because they have taken over some significant cities in Iraq, including the northern city of Mosul, which is the second largest Iraqi city. I think the untold story in all of this is how it's affected the Christians in Iraq. Now, we tend not to think so much about the Christians. They are a minority, obviously, in Iraq, certainly maybe 5% of the population. But it's interesting, about 40% of the refugees in Iraq are Christians who are fleeing those areas because of the nature of ISIS and how they are seeking to subvert and really remove Christians from the area.
And we've watched some things also unwind in the country of Egypt over the last few years. We were talking about that just a little bit ago. ago. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, well, the Arab Spring has created all kinds of difficulties for Christians in Egypt as well. Churches have been burned, some people have been killed, bookstores have been trashed, those kinds of things. The thing that's been remarkable, I think, a little different than from Egypt, is that there really hasn't been the refugee problem. Those Christians have been able to stay put, but I think they were fully expected to retaliate in some way, and they haven't. And that's been one of the great testimonies of the power of the gospel, that the Christians have been willing to forgive the offenses in many cases and not respond with the same kind of sort of violent responses that might be expected in those circumstances. But the whole region all the Christians in the whole region are under a great deal of pressure.
How can we pray for the Christians that are being affected right now?
Well, certainly we can pray for their perseverance. I mean, we Christians in America have no idea of that kind of pressure. But we simply need to pray that they would have that kind of perseverance to maintain their testimony for Christ at great cost. We also certainly want to pray for their safety, for wisdom, that they would know where to go, what to do, how to protect themselves and their families. Those kinds of things would be important things for us to pray for. And we also ought to pray for their relationships with their Muslim neighbors as well, because obviously there's an opportunity to find some common ground for those Muslims who are also fleeing, and to help them to understand what Christ brings to the equation in circumstances like that.
And it's during this period of time that we've also been focusing on prayer for the Muslim communities because of Ramadan. Tell us a little bit about how we can focus on that prayer request.
Well, it's interesting because obviously that's a significant time for Muslims as they really focus on Allah, and they're serious about their religion. And while we wouldn't understand Allah to be the triune God of the Bible, at the same time it puts them in a situation where they could be very sensitive and open to the Spirit of God moving among them. And that's why praying at this particular time for them, I think, is significant.
And we do have a tool available. We've introduced it before. It's available in the church lobby for folks to pick up. But this is just a guide that over the course of the 30 days of Ramadan, people can use this as a prayer guide, and it's very helpful. We invite you to join us in prayer during this time for the Christians that are involved in these crises, as well as the Muslims, that God will use this as an opportunity to sensitize their hearts to who He is and His love for them. Thank you for joining us today. Have a wonderful day.
We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in tomorrow when we hear about LACE, which stands for Listening and Communication Enhancement. You'll want to listen in. And we'll see something else kind of lacy, Ann Chatfield's doll collection. Until then, this is Shell Point Today for Tuesday, July 8th. I'm Adam Brown, and from all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.